Hey, welcome to the Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is a musician, that's easy to say, singer, songwriter. Her name is Cait Leow, and we're going to talk with her about how she plays for a living. You can find her at caitleowmusic.com. And the show is brought to you by Playful Humans. This is a community for the burned out and bored, helping you find more fun, flow, and fulfillment in your life. You can find us at playfulhumans.com. And there's even a personality quiz. Check it out, playfulhumans.com/quiz. Find out how playful you are and what type of playful personality. Let's do it. Here we go. There you go. Again, the theme song by Pink Zebra, Chasing the Sunshine. Check that out. The joke of the week is brought to you by Voice Search. Ask Alexa to tell Siri to Google Cortana and search for how to use Bixby today. The joke of the week, I hope you like this one, Cait. I picked a music joke for you. Yeah. My friends have asked me to stop singing Wonderwall by Oasis. And I said, maybe.
That's good. That's a good one.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on, because you got a new song out and all kinds of cool stuff happening at Cait Leow Music. And you spell Cait with a C and Leo with a W. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my name is Cait Leow. It's Caitleow, not how you spell Kate or Leo at all, but that's how I do it. Yes, so I have a single coming out on January 29th, and my first EP is going to come out sometime this year. Originally, awesome. I wanted to release the EP this month, but it's not done yet. So music is funny that way.
Yeah, so you've been a musician, actress, model, all kinds of cool, fun things to play for a living that I want to dig into. But we should probably tell people about your music a little bit, because you play ukulele, which I think is awesome. I appreciate that for sure. And that makes for a cool, fun vibe. So how would you describe your music and your style?
I have always been really inspired by vintage music, older music. I mean, everybody's a Beatles fan, but we grew up listening to the Beatles in my house, and Billie Holiday and Edith Piaf. Like, Leveon Rose was my favorite song for a really long time. I almost got that tattooed on my foot when I was 18, but didn't. I do have tattoos, but none of them say Leveon Rose. And yeah, I grew up in doing theater. And my brothers also are musicians. We all are multi-instrumentalists. So we grew up singing and playing together. And now that I'm back in Ohio, for now, who knows how long I'll be here, at least through 2021, my brother Aaron actually bought James and I, we all have matching songwriting journals. So we're going to start to get the Leo trio back together this year, which I'm really excited about.
The Leo trio. Yes. That sounds awesome and super fun. My brother did stand-up comedy, and he won like funniest person in Kansas City. And so my dad would tell everybody like about that. And at the time I was on the radio. So when people met me and they're like, "Oh, you're on the top 40 station, you're fun and stuff." And they'd be like, "So you're the stand-up comedian?" And I'd be like, "Nope, I'm the radio host." Still funny, but totally different thing.
That's awesome.
So we both kind of figured out though that like a pretty funny stand-up comedian is a hilarious university professor. That's what he does now.
Okay.
And
what does he teach?
For me, like a mildly entertaining DJ makes for a really entertaining sales trainer. So
yes.
When you switch to real jobs, it works out a little bit that way. But I think that's kind of what's interesting about playing for a living, is sometimes you have to mix and match a lot of random stuff. So tell me about that. For you, what do you find most fun, and how have you found a way to make a living doing all this?
Well, so I lived in LA for the last 8 years. I graduated from Ohio State with a degree in theater and art history. And the interesting little twist there is that I went into studying environmental science at first. And I remember sitting in like the back of my environmental science 202 class, and there was a kid named James who sat in the very front row who like knew all the answers to all the questions and was like, And I was just like, I want to feel like that about what I'm studying. And
Oh, that's great.
so I switched my major to things that I cared about, even though they basically only qualified me to be a waitress. And I got a double major in theater and art history and moved to Los Angeles. And I mean, the last 8 years has been a journey, mostly fun. Definitely a
Mhm.
lot of play, maybe too much. And yeah,
Nothing
it's
wrong with that.
it's exactly.
That's like
I
too
know.
much ice cream or too much pizza. I mean, it's
I agree.
possible, but let's be honest. If that's as bad as it gets,
Come on,
I'll
exactly.
take it.
Also, I was such a straight-laced kid. Like even through college, I'd say if I could go back and do college again, I would have more fun. I would party more. Like I
Yeah.
really didn't. I didn't have time as a double major, and doing theater is actually a very disciplined thing, even though theater is a lot about play and releasing your inner child and all of that kind of stuff, but it takes up a lot of time. so
Yeah.
uh so where was I going with that? But I moved to LA and I've done a bunch of stuff. So yes, you are right. I've done a little bit of modeling, a little bit of commercial acting. I played ukulele on The Rookie and it aired last
Oh, cool.
February. So, I've done a couple little things for TV, and mostly I gigged a lot in LA. So there was one year, I think it was 2017, it might have been 2018, where I had like 3 or 4 gigs a month at different bars, and I was just like pounding the pavement and paying my dues. And I think that I said to you right before we started, actually, I was just on the phone with a musician friend of mine, and finding your circle in LA is actually really difficult. You'd think there
Hmm.
are so many musicians and so many actors and so many, artists out there, that it would be easy to like fall in with a crowd where you can all come up together. But in music, it's really hard because it depends what genre you're playing.
Right.
And yeah, and I am very inspired by vintage songs, and that's not a super
Super. Yeah.
LA thing. LA is a lot more hip hop, R&B, pop, EDM, whereas I feel like maybe I'd fit better in New York City, but who knows where I will end up after the pandemic. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important part of figuring out how to play either for fun or for a living is
Yeah,
finding your tribe and your people. That
exactly.
there are, like 7 billion people. There's enough that are interested in the same thing that you can find them, but sometimes
Yes.
finding them takes a little while, and
Hmm.
finding your way to make a living too. I love
Yeah.
what you said though about changing majors, because I had the same experience. I went computer science major because I was just kind of naturally talented and I understood computers. I
Hmm.
designed websites in high school, which was not so impressive now, but in the 90s, there weren't
That's
websites
huge. Yeah,
or,
no, no,
or
no. Right.
programs
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
So that was it was interesting, but it was so funny. I love telling this story because I went to the University of Missouri and I'm walking around campus, and for a guy, this is a young, young even for graduating, so I'm 17 years old on
Hmm.
campus and surrounded by thousands of women in August and summertime. Their shorts and everything. It's looking great. And I walk into my computer science class and it was like they evaporated. there was one girl in a class of 350,
Oh
and
man.
probably more man than I was at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what in the world? Like I felt instantly just like out of place, and people are like having way more fun. So I switched to marketing to
Okay.
have more fun. And I probably
Hmm.
didn't have the guts necessarily. Ended up getting a communication theory major because I thought, well, if it's communication theory, in theory, that should apply to other things. But really, it was broadcasting and entertainment and
Hmm.
fun is what
Hmm.
I was doing. But I figured if you have a broadcast degree and you don't go into broadcasting, you're pretty much out of luck. So I was trying to figure out a way to finagle a little bit of both
Right.
out of that. And I feel
Yeah.
like I did. I
Yeah.
teach communication theory for a living now. And you teach music as well, which I think is awesome. And there are ways to make it happen, right?
Yeah. I fell into teaching. So I do a national tour with San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. And one of my castmates teaches with this amazing school in LA. It's called Upstage Theater Schools. And we teach theater skills for life. That's our tagline.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, it's really great. We go into schools that don't have programs, or we teach right now. Obviously, everything has moved online. So like last semester, I was teaching a music appreciation course to kindergartners, and I was teaching a drama class to fifth graders, and I was musically directing 2 musicals over Zoom with middle schoolers. And
Did you
it
do a
was,
Zoom musical, or did they come together for the performance?
so what they do is we record while we're on Zoom with them. They like take a recording of themselves on their phone or whatever, and then they send it to us, and then me as the musical director, I rip all the music off of the videos and compile them into a track so they all sound like they're singing together. And then a video editor
Wow.
edits all the videos together so it looks like they're singing and dancing all together.
Whoa,
It's
that had to be a
it's
ton of work, but did it turn out cool? Did you have fun with it?
I have a blast doing it, probably because I'm not the video editor.
There you go.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine. But it is really funny working with kids on something like that, because what they think is acceptable to turn in. Like I have one
Yeah.
video that I watch over and over and over again now. I couldn't use it in the voices because the kid was not singing any of the words, and then at the end like goes up the octave and is singing these ahs like with like Mariah Carey dog whistle notes. And the video is
I love that.
hilarious because he's committed to not knowing the lyrics or like and singing the wrong notes. But I mean, I couldn't use that obviously as part of the
That's so funny.
track,
Right.
but I'm glad he was like having fun and he was doing it, and it was great. But it's also just really funny because I know that if I was doing this, if I was the kid and my mom was helping me with it, no way would she have let me turn in a video like that. Um,
Well,
yeah,
parents are
because
funny because if they don't have your same style of play, I have one that definitely encouraged us and one that's a lot more like business
hmm
like,
hmm
but still encouraged us to play. Never told us it wasn't cool or we were embarrassing them or anything.
yeah, yeah,
He has no shame, but it was definitely more serious. He wouldn't do it himself. But
right.
I don't think if they're not musical, would they really know or care? Would they think all the other kids did that
Yeah,
way too? You
I
know,
don't know. It depends. Like my mom was a theater mom, and all three of us did theater and music and stuff throughout, and she loved it. So she was probably just had a higher standard than other parents, obviously.
yeah.
But it has been really fun just seeing what kids turn in. Over the summer, we did summer camps, and one kid sent me, we'd record it like 3 or 4 times. I'd like watch them through Zoom. I'm like, I'm watching you. And I know you got 3 takes of this. And like this one kid sent me one where his phone had like fallen off of his tripod in the middle and like made this crashing noise. And then he says, sorry. And then like kept singing the song. And like I'm listening through the track. I'm like, all right, good job, good job. And then I was like, oh, 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 you're okay. And why did you send me this one? Like, why didn't you send me the one where you didn't drop your phone in the middle?
Right.
Um,
There were other options.
but
I think that's great.
he's
But
11.
I've definitely been there too because I help.
Yeah.
I create online courses and stuff for people, and so there'll be a lot of different takes and stuff. And it's funny with people that don't edit, don't know because on radio I know what I can cut out and what I can't, and it's like
hmm
if you start over in the middle of a sentence, that doesn't make for very easy editing, or in the middle of a word. But if
Right.
you take a deep breath and just start over, you can do it again.
Yeah. Just
Especially
start.
when you're recording, you can take as many takes as you want. So do it until you don't drop the phone, right?
Yeah. Back to one. Start again. Also, I
So
learned in interviewing, it's good to like repeat the question and then give like a full it, right? So these are all skills that you are not born with. You have to learn them. So I totally understand.
yeah, and coaching people too, just to smile and be like, hey,
Yeah.
smile before you answer this, because otherwise you're gonna have this weird like thinking face about the answer that doesn't look good as a first impression
Right. Right.
when I put you up there. But I wanted to ask you, you had a video go viral. I think you mentioned the song earlier.
Oh yeah,
So
Leveon Rose.
1.6 million views on YouTube of you singing the song with your ukulele. What was that experience like? And did you get to at least monetize the video at all, or did you miss that because it took off and stuff? Yeah.
So the video, I posted that 6 years ago now, which I'm like, whoa. I had probably only had my ukulele for a couple of months. It was one of the first songs I learned because it's one of my
Oh,
favorite songs,
wow.
Leveon Rose.
Yeah.
And it was so it was just the timing. So I never watched How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if you're a fan.
I did. I watched them all. Yeah, big fan.
So the series finale, right? She's like out on a balcony playing the ukulele, singing Leveon Rose, and I posted my video of me doing that. I wasn't out on a balcony, I was just like in my kitchen in my 1-bedroom apartment in LA that I was sharing with another person. And I, I was playing and singing it, and I put it up the same night as that series finale, and I had no idea. And so like I put it up, and I had a couple videos on YouTube at that point, probably only like 4 or 5. And I woke up the next morning, I had 11,000 views. And I was just like, what happened? I was like, awesome. And then I don't remember when I hit 1 million. It might have taken like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
But it was so fun because my dad kept texting me. Like he was giving me the stats updates. Like I wasn't watching what the numbers were doing, but he would like text me. He'd be like, "Oh, you just got to 100,000. Oh, you just got to 500." And I was like, "Oh, this is actually really fun."
All the views were just your dad refreshing the video to see what the numbers are.
Basically, he's at least 40,000 of them.
Yeah.
And it was like I had only been in LA for 2 years. YouTube wasn't exactly what it is now. Monetization was totally different. It's also not my song.
Right.
So that affects it. And I didn't jump on it the way I should have, I guess. I tried to release another like videos after that, but I wasn't super consistent. And even though I do have a lot of not a lot, but like 7,000, almost 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. And every once in a while, I did have like a fan show up to one of my shows in LA from China who had been watching me on YouTube since that video had come out, which is a really cool experience. All those experiences for me have been really cool and definitely milestones, but they are a little few and far between.
I was going to ask you if you ever got like recognized for that or anything else that you've done. Cause there's a weird kind of thing where I know you and I have both done enough in entertainment where there's fans, and like for radio, nobody knew what I looked like.
Right,
so
they could hear your
they
voice,
might recognize my voice, or sometimes I would pre-record stuff and then I would be at the gym and they would have my station on. And so I'd be like talking to somebody on a treadmill and my voice comes on over the radio.
Hilarious.
And they wouldn't even notice then. Really. But
you're like,
it's funny. Yeah. Or when I was in, commercials and stuff like that too, you'd see the commercial play, like my voice, right when I'm standing in front of it, and it would be awkward. But did you ever have experiences like that?
Besides that guy showing up to my show, I'm trying to think if I have. Every once in a while, I would run into somebody that would be like, "I've seen you before." And I'm like, "You probably have."
You probably have. Yeah.
But if you don't remember what it's from, it could be a lot of different things. Like, I have no idea.
And then I was going to ask you the opposite question, which is obviously Cait Micucci plays ukulele and her name is Cait and does stuff. Do you ever get confused or like feel like you have to distance yourself or anything or be a fan of her? No, nothing.
She was on Scrubs and stuff, right? And she's in not Hall & Oates, what it's called, Garfunkel and Oates.
Yes.
We're thinking about the same person, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I was definitely I would say inspired by her for sure, because I was a huge Scrubs fan in college. That was something like a group of us would all watch. It was the last couple of seasons. It was like the reboot on ABC. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're Scrubs. And when she was on it, I was like, oh, I want to get a ukulele and be that girl, because she also has short dark hair and all that stuff. And I love Garfunkel and Oates. I think they're hilarious.
Awesome.
So it was really fun to watch her take off. But no, nobody's ever asked me if I was her. I don't get confused for anyone. I get people tell me I look like Audrey Hepburn and stuff, which I'm like, thank you so much.
Take that for sure. Yeah.
I will take it and I will run with that for the rest of my life. But no, I think
you're taller than her, but I love Scrubs too. They have one of my all-time favorite lines. I think I've laughed harder at this than anything in my life, but the wife comes in and goes, "Why are there pancakes in the silverware drawer?" And he says, "Why are there silverware in the pancake drawer?" And I love that. I was just like, that would be me. I need a pancake drawer in my
That's
house.
hilarious.
So
Yeah, I
that's on my
actually,
bucket list.
one of the
Eventually.
restaurants where I worked, Zach Braff was a regular for a long time, and I would not say we were friends, but he
No.
did know my name.
Hey, that's awesome.
I helped him get red wine out of his pants once, and after that we were buds. So yeah.
That's awesome. So I guess going back to like playing for a living and stuff. Are there
Yeah.
any times that you feel guilty about having too much fun, or like that you don't have a real job, or that it's work? Sometimes it's a weird thing where I think people go, "Well, am I really supposed to be able to do this and have this much fun?" Or moments of doubt where you're like, "No, I'm probably messing this up. I should be." I should be an insurance agent and make money or
Oh
something.
my
What do
gosh,
you think of
no,
that?
I've never
No,
had guilt around having fun.
good.
I mean, I guess you know what? Actually, something I've talked to my therapist about is because I'm from the Midwest, and then you move somewhere like LA, and it's a huge culture shock. Like people in LA don't show up on time. Everyone's kind of just like laid back and like doing their own thing, and also hot, so hot. I couldn't. I was like, what planet did I just land on? And where did all of these models come from? I mean, I worked at Coffee Bean was my first job when I moved to LA. And there was one day these two guys ran by with 10 packs and they were like glistening and like, and I was just like, as they ran by, and my friend Angane was like, they don't make them like that, do they? In Ohio, do they, Cait? And I was like, no, they don't. I was like, what is happening?
You sound like me in college. You had the same
Yeah, I
experience
was just
when you
like,
moved to LA.
ooh, what? I didn't know men could have abs like that. Yeah, it was hilarious. But yeah, no, guilt, no. I would say I do feel like there's this kind of like tension inside me personally where like I want to do the responsible thing, obviously, because I was like born and raised in the Midwest, strict upbringing, yada yada yada. Like I said, didn't really party in college, like all that stuff. And then I moved to LA, which is like the young person party capital of the universe, I feel like. And I'd say for the first year, I thought I was supposed to be auditioning all the time and like doing all this stuff. But honestly, like when you move somewhere like that, that's so different. If anyone's thinking about moving to LA, I'm like, you have to find your family and find your tribe first, or nothing else will keep you there. So I did spend a lot of time socializing my first year.
Well, I was going to
And at
ask
the same
you
time
kind of
thinking
about
like,
that.
yeah, I had to like be working all the time. Yeah, no, I definitely don't feel guilty about having playing for a job. It does there are a lot of days where it does feel like a job and it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
fun at all. So reconciling that too is
Well,
interesting.
there was two questions I was going to ask you there. One is I think you're right. I've had somebody ask me, they're like, do you feel like it's harder to be discovered in Kansas City or LA? And I was like, well, I think it would be harder in LA. In Kansas City, it's easier to be a big fish in a small
Uh-huh.
pond. I went
Uh-huh.
straight to Market 29 or whatever for radio, and other people have to go to small towns to get started and work their way in, where I feel like if I had grown up in LA, there's no way I would have had a night radio show.
Mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
like Market 3, kind of too big. But did you kind of feel the same way, or what would you recommend?
Well, it's like I had no idea what to expect. No, but nothing anyone can say can prepare you to move to Los Angeles. I mean, seriously. Uh something my parents would say to me a lot though is because like was constantly out playing gigs in LA and not making money. Like I wasn't getting paid for those gigs necessarily. My mom would be like, well, if you move back to Ohio, like they pay people to play
Right,
music
yeah, open
here.
mic nights or bars and clubs, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know. But it's yeah, I don't know. I think the pandemic has really shifted my thinking too. Like you're catching me at a very interesting moment in my career. And it's kind of I am going to stick around here for at least through the next year, and hopefully by summer like there will be some sort of some
Opportunities or something,
population,
or to
yeah,
do
will have
live,
had the
yeah.
vaccine and I can do live music again, and see what that would look like in a smaller pond, because people like me are few and far between here, whereas people like me are everywhere in Los Angeles. So
well, I think that's interesting. Also, doing both is important because you grow and you get better when you go do something with everybody else in LA. But then when you come back, you're like, oh, well, I'm 10 times better than everybody else here in Toledo because I've practiced and I've lived through and had to compete in LA. So there's a lot of good growth there. But that also brings me to my last question here, which was there's this weird balance I found too in the imposter syndrome. Like, can I really do this? Am I really that good? And then also the other half of the time you're thinking, well, I'm better than this. How come my video only got 10 views this time? And I should be getting 100 or 1,000 or nobody came to my show. Like, it's a weird balance when you play for a living of how you're either feeling not good enough or you're feeling better. Like you should be better than you are. How does that work out for you?
That should be performing better. I have the exact same experience. Like I had, this is one of those like LA stories that you're just like, I had an opportunity to work with the Weeknd's producer and I wasn't ready. Like I hadn't really written that many songs yet. And I wasn't ready. And so that was like a missed opportunity for me. And that was one of those definitely imposter syndrome moments where like I'm sitting in this guy's studio and we're like talking about music and like playing songs for each other and like what would we make together, and I was sitting there like, I can't do this. I've never even written a song before.
Like, no.
I was like, what am I doing here? And and unfortunately that kind of sabotaged that situation and it didn't move forward, and I think about it a lot.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I mean, I was sitting in a studio with an Oscar nominated, or did The Weeknd win the Oscar for that song in 50 Shades of Grey?
I don't know, but either way, yeah, he's gotten a lot of credit.
Accolades, this guy, yeah. And I was just like, I messed it up. So
well, it's funny. I've had the both things. I've never told you this story, but I've told it lots of times. I got fired by Billy Idol. He needed an opening act when he came to Kansas City because his opening act got sick, and they were like, "We need somebody to play music." And I was the only live DJ at the radio station, and we were the retro radio station in town. So they said, "Play retro music. Mostly rock, and don't play any Billy Idol songs." That was the instructions I got.
Okay.
So I'm playing retro music and I play something like Jesse's Girl because I was like, hey, that's 80s. Like when I think Billy Idol, it's an awesome song. Like, and they're all like middle-aged women in the audience at this point.
Jesse's Girl should be
yes. Yeah, because this wasn't Billy Idol in the 80s. This was Billy Idol in the 2000s, late 2000s. And so I was like, they'll love that song. And they did. They all loved it. And the manager came out and said, I thought we said play rock music. And I instantly had this panic attack because I'm a club DJ. There's 2 rock songs people dance to: AC/DC, You Shook Me All Night Long, and Pour Sugar on Me by Def Leppard. Other than that, there's no other rock songs that you play in a club. So, and this was before download. So I had CDs and I'm flipping through CDs looking for like anything. And so I made it like 3 more songs and I played Casey and the Sunshine Band and they turned the music off. Lights off on stage, turn the music on, and they put on house like trance music. And I was like, how is this more rock than what I was just doing? But I had that same moment, like, oh, I have a chance to impress like a international rock star.
Right.
And I totally blew it. But it made me bulletproof for future like performances because nothing is worse than that. So once you get over that, you're like, oh, well, the next one. The next producer you perform in front of, you're like, oh, whatever. I'm not gonna, not gonna be worse than the Weeknd thing.
Right, exactly. So it's definitely a learning experience. And then I have had experiences where I got booked on a show in LA, let's say, and I sit there and I'm watching everybody else play, and I'm like, why wasn't I the headliner? All of these people are terrible.
Yeah.
And so yes, I've definitely been on both sides of that coin where I was just like, oh no, I can't handle this. What am I doing here? And also, wow.
For speaking, I've had that like motivational speaking. I went to go give a talk and the guy before and after me were like scientists talking about like tree care for arborists, and it was data and spreadsheets and stuff. And it was like, oh my gosh, that guy got paid twice as much as I did.
Yeah, you're like, what?
How did that work? All right, but this is the Playful Humans podcast, so we like to play games here. Play is completely optional. I can't force you to play, but if you do play, I have a special spot in the website, the Playful Humans Clubhouse. I'll give your podcast special promotion. So do you want to get weird, or would you like to walk away?
Oh, let's get weird.
All right, we're spinning the wheel. There's 10 different games on the prize wheel that it could come up with, and we got... Would you rather? Would you rather? All right, I have one prepared and you can think of one.
Okay.
Would you rather have spaghetti hair that regrows every night, hair made of spaghetti, or would you rather sweat maple syrup?
Oh, spaghetti hair that regrows every night or sweat maple syrup.
Yeah.
Would the maple syrup be sticky?
I don't know, but I'm thinking I would go maple syrup. That sounds like a fun thing.
Part of me wants to say maple syrup, but I hate sticky. I don't like being sticky. If it was just like, I would probably, I'd probably go spaghetti hair because of the sticky. I couldn't be sticky constantly. No.
It would have to be sticky, I would think. Yeah. If it was
right.
just maple flavored sweat, that would be different thing.
If it was maple flavored sweat, I would 100% do that. But if it's actual maple syrup, I'm gonna have to go with spaghetti hair because
I think that's a good answer.
Constantly.
Yeah. So what about you? Do you have one for me?
Yes. Okay. Would you rather every shirt you wear be kind of itchy, or only be able to use 1-ply toilet paper for the rest of your life?
I am a big 2-ply fan. Fun fact about me, I was an RA in the dorms at Park University, and so I used our party budget to buy 2-ply quilted toilet paper for everybody, so we didn't have to use that 1-ply itchy stuff in college.
That's a good RA, folks.
I know. I'm gonna have to go because I figure like we can buy pizza or we can go get pizza at the cafeteria. We need a semester supply of 2-ply toilet paper.
Yes. Wise. So you'd go with this shirt that's...
I think I'm gonna go with the shirt that's slightly itchy. They all kind of are a little bit anyway, right? Maybe you'd get used to that, but I don't think I would ever get used to 1-ply cheap toilet paper.
I also don't... I agree with you, but I would go toilet paper because bidets exist. Is that cheating?
Oh, no, that's not cheating. You got creative. I like it. Good answer. Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you. Any final thoughts or ask for the audience if they enjoyed what you are doing?
Yes.
How can they find you?
So like I said, you spell my name Caitleow. So CaitLeowMusic.com is where you can get linked to all of my videos, my YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook, all that stuff. But Instagram is my favorite social media, so it's the one I'm on most. So Cait Leow Music is my Instagram handle too, if you want to follow me there.
And then you have some new songs coming out. So would you like to play us a song or tell us about what you got going on?
I would love to. I have been working with a producer in the UK. His name is Joe Boone, and his Instagram handle is Joe Boone Musician. And he's super talented, can play all the instruments way better than I can. And that's why he's producing, and I just send little things. And we met at a songwriting camp with the Milk Carton Kids a couple summers ago called Sad Song Summer Camp. And so we now, as a group of us, all of our Sad Song Summer Camp campers, we get together once a week on Zoom and we play songs for each other. And it's I wouldn't say it's not structured or like an accountability thing at all, but we just have a lot of fun sharing with each other. And I ended up hiring Joe to produce my whole EP. And our most recent single came out in October. It's called Ohio, which is a song I wrote while I was homesick in LA, and now I'm back here in Ohio. And this song that is coming out on January 29th that I'm going to play is called Heartbreaker. And yeah, Joe sent me the master of this last week, and I was so excited. I was like, we're releasing it this month, let's do it! I wanted it out in time for Valentine's Day, for all of us out there that are single and Valentine's Day in the pandemic single. It's great. I had a guy, he played cello. He was my guy, soft and mellow, but I'm a heartbreaker, heartbreaker. I can't break free from breaking all these hearts. I went away, I started my school. Then I met some curly hair who made me a fool. But I'm a heartbreaker, heartbreaker. I can't break free from breaking all these hearts. I don't know where I lost my way. The right road I didn't choose. I know I have to find my way. I'm tired of causing all these blues. I'll travel near, I'll travel far. It doesn't matter where we two are, 'cause I'm a heartbreaker, heartbreaker. I can't break free from breaking all these hearts. I don't know where I lost my way. The right road I didn't choose. I know I have to find my way. I'm tired of causing all these blues. Well, that's the story you ought to know. I'm a heartbreaker who loves you so. Yes, I'm a heartbreaker, heartbreaker. I can't break free from breaking all these hearts. Yes, I'm a heartbreaker, heartbreaker. I can't break free from breaking all these hearts. Please break me free from breaking all these hearts. I don't want yours to be my next broken heart.
Cait Leow, everybody. Check her out, CaitLeowMusic.com. That was awesome. I love it. The musical instrumental break was my favorite. I love the whole thing, but that made me happy inside. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, CaitLeowMusic.com. You can subscribe to this podcast, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you want to have more fun, go check out PlayfulHumans.com. Take that playfulness quiz, PlayfulHumans.com/quiz. I'm Mike Montague. If you can't be good at it. That's what I always say. We'll see you next time. Go play.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep on chasing